Yes sir, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, back at y'all with another, believe it or not, Project G35 video. Now we are in the little temporary tent shelter thing here, and I got a couple things today that I need to get done to this car. Over the last couple weeks I've really been just fiending to, you know, almost buy another like beater daily type car that I can just romp on, not really care if it gets salty or anything like that. And then I figured I already have one right here, so why not really just get this thing back on the road as cheaply as possible. Now a couple of things that I want to do just to not look so heat score is definitely get a bumper on there. I also needed a MAF because when I built this cheap intake, the 03 MAF sensor is actually a little bit different than the 04 and up, which I didn't know about. So luckily I was able to get that. Also heat and just being able to defrost the windows I thought would be pretty good since it's still pretty cold out here. Went out and got another, really alls I need is this. I'm not even going to be using the radio because as a lot of you guys know I already took the speakers out, so I'll probably just get like a Bluetooth type thing if I want to get music on. And the last piece of the puzzle was the alternator, because the alternator in this car, as you guys know, was the main issue that I was having with the electrical set of headlights that I put in here. Just there was some kind of a drain, and you know, we got everything here: the MAF, the alternator, the radio, and climate controls, and the bumper here for $200, which I don't think is a bad deal. I sold the Nismo. I mean, basically all in all, this car is already paid for. I sold enough parts off of it. Somebody finally bought the duckbill trunk. Finally sold enough parts off of it that I actually made $30 so far off of this car, believe it or not. Shout out SoCal G. So what I figured is, like, you know, why not dump a little bit more money into it? Now it still is missing a lot of interior bits, and other than that, I'm gonna run it just how it is, man, completely stripped out. We're gonna go ahead, get this thing registered, put on the road, and I think it'll be a fun little car just to rip back and forth to. And the more that I drive it, I'm gonna give it a week or so and you know, really figure out what needs to be done. I'm probably gonna definitely do pads right off of the bat. I'm hoping the rotors are still good. I want to try to get the calipers, make sure they're all lubed up nice just so they're moving freely. And then yeah, man, we're gonna get this junker on the road. But the mission for today is to get the alternator in. So what I'm gonna do is jack this car up, put them on these little stands here, move the bumper out of the way and all this other stuff, and see if I can figure out how to get this alternator out. Alrighty, so I got the car jacked up, got a little bit of smoking tire going, some podcast action. Just paused it though to show you guys what I got going on. So basically the alternator is right there. I'm probably gonna have to drop, from what I've seen online, the sway bar here. It looks like this bracket here will probably have to come off as well. I've already undone the tensioner, which is this bolt right here. You also should undo this nut right here. That'll allow this to, you know, swing down. The belt's pretty loose. I'm going to take it off from the top. I already made a little like drawing on how this is going to go back on. This belt is pretty beat up, but I'm just going to put it on for the time being and hope for the best. So I'm going to go up top, take the belt off. Now I'm probably going to have to pull it off around here in order to... Let me put the camera down and get both hands going here. Alrighty, so belt is off, and this thing actually looks really, really bad. I'm probably going to change this like ASAP. I'll probably go to the hardware store and grab a couple of those. But the belt is off now, so now what I have to do is get underneath and start undoing the sway bar bracket, which it looks pretty rusty, but I did spray it with some WD-40. Looks like it's gonna be 2 bolts on this side as well as 2 bolts on that side. Looks like I missed one of them when I sprayed it. So yeah, I'm gonna start on this side because I definitely got both of those, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. Once that's out, this should drop down and I should have easier access to the alternator. Alrighty, so I finally got the sway bar off. It was a pain in the ass. I first started out using the DeWalt, definitely not enough power. Busted out the air compressor, but because I'm so far away from the house, I blew the breaker. Just the extension cord's too long, so I ended up having to actually pull out the generator for the first time this winter. That worked out good. Mastercraft impact gun, and as you can see, the sway bar is out. The bushings look pretty crappy, but I'm not even worried about that. There's another, I think, AC leak somewhere over here, but we're not even going to worry about that. As you can see, we got pretty well access to the alternator here. It looks like this wire right here might need to come off. I don't know what that's for. It looks like maybe an oil temp sensor or something like that. So once I pull that wire off, I think there's one bolt here, a couple at the back, just for the wires. So I'm gonna see how easy it is to get this out, but man, that right there was a pain in the ass, I can't lie, but needed to be done, so on to the next. Alrighty, so I've got the one lower bracket off here. It looks like there's a bolt on the top right there between the pulley and the alternator that I still have to get, and then this clip right here I'm gonna undo. Now there is a hard wire right here that you can see and a bracket at the back. I'm hoping once I get this front bolt off, I'll be able to pull this down enough to get access to the back of those. I don't want to go from the top because I've seen people undo the radiator hose and I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of coolant right now, so I'm going to unclip that little wiring harness and then undo this bolt from the top here. Let me see if I can show it to you. It's right, basically right underneath this bolt. It's that one right there. So see if I can get access to that and let you guys know. Alrighty, so I've got the alternator out. It was actually quite a pain in the ass. The biggest issue was the bolt that was at the front. Here's the bracket. Now luckily for me, the wires came out or weren't attached. Maybe this alternator was already replaced at one point, which I'm sure it was with the amount of kilometers that are on this car. So I'm probably not going to put this bracket back on just because it's more of a pain in the ass to switch it over, and since the wires really weren't even connected there, I don't think it'll be necessary. So like I say, the biggest pain was this bolt right here. I really had to get underneath, and once I got that bolt out, it did pop right out. So I know with the newer cars like the 04, like my other one, it has the rad fan here, which the bolt actually hits the fan, whereas this one has it coming off of the motor here, and obviously cools the engine that way. There is these ones, or at least one of them in there, but I really don't know. But alternator's out. I'm gonna start out by putting obviously the power cable back on, and then once I get that on, I'm going to be able to put that long bolt in, and then once that's in there, it should be pretty much straightforward, man. Alrighty, so new used alternators in. I can't lie, it was really tough to actually hold it up and put the bolts in, so I didn't really film too much. Now what I think I'm going to do is probably put back the sway bar here. I already put back this little switch here, so I'm going to put the sway bar back, and then run the belt and throw a battery in here and see if this used alternator is actually any good, man. So fingers crossed. Alrighty, new alternator is in. Sway bars all back here. Went ahead and tightened this, you know, enough to the point where there's just a little bit of flex, but not too much. This belt here actually kind of tried to match the tension there. So I'm hoping everything is good to go here. What I'm going to do before I throw in the battery is just head to the shed and basically make this section here, I just got to cut off this flange with a saw, and then I'll be able to put the cone filter on there, and then I'll have the proper MAF on here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, grab the battery, should be fully charged, and start this thing up, pull it outside, and see if it ends up dying just on idle. Alrighty, we're in the car. I got the heater in there, I got my stereo in. I got the car on the ground because I figure even if the alternator does crap out or is crap, my black car still has to come back in the garage. But we're gonna start it up, hope for no battery or traction light. Wipers work. Service engine soon, but no battery, no brake light. We need a lot of gas, but I think that solved our issues, man. I'm gonna pull this thing outside, let it run for a while. I want to do some stuff with the bumper, but I'm gonna make that another video. So let's pull this thing out. This camera sucks. It's got some stuff on the lens here. It's running nice. That MAF sensor, much needed. Woo-wee! She's running, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if the heat works here. Looks like we're not getting any heat, unfortunately. It's going AC just to the floor. None of these controls are working. I'm gonna have to see about that. Let's just jump outside real quick. She is running really nice. Actually, it's not smoking too much. I'm gonna have to check. I might have pulled a fuse for that radio. If not, maybe the fuse might have blown when I was taking the old radio out. But either way, what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I do want to do a little mock-up for the bumper. Not really do a lip, but kind of just I don't know, you guys will see in my next video. But what I'm gonna do next is probably go get the proper paperwork for this thing, get it plated, registered, insured, and I'm actually gonna start driving this thing to work. I have been driving the minivan, but it's just not really that fun. And I mean, it's practical and everything like that, but I don't need, you know, I don't need to be picking car parts up every single day. So it'll be nice just to take this thing out on the road when it snows, when it doesn't. I would drive this thing, but I'm a bit of a butthurt, and I just want to keep this thing nice for next year. So I mean, this thing's running nice, but I'm probably gonna put an end to this video. So if you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to smash that like button. If you guys want to see more and you're not subscribed yet, definitely do so. Look at the smoke going around that diffuser though, man. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, beater G35 getting put back on the road, man. So next video you guys see, maybe the next 2 videos, this thing should be plated and rocking, man. So as always, I'm your boy Denali, aka Don Squally. We're gonna catch y'all mofos at the next one, man. Peace.